For those new to the platform, well, this is an open forum where we ask questions pertaining to any level and use of the tool. To keep it organized, we just ask you to raise your hand. I bring you in. We exchange, and everybody can share in the knowledge gain. For the regulars, it's always a pleasure to see you guys. Thank you again for taking the time week after week, coming back and making this happen. So we all benefit from it. Um, for the rest, we'll start as usual. If there's any questions, I hope, and I think there should be a lot of questions coming back from the master class for those who are here. For those who are not, I assume that you have some general questions, or I can go over what we've done or what we are expected to have achieved at this point coming out of these master classes or what we're striving to accomplish very soon. So we'll start with questions, if any, things that you tried coming out of the class or things that you noticed that you needed to optimize or were doing very good
I think some of those guys are running a little late. They're coming in now.
coming in now. For the for the then if you guys were not here at the master class, I assume that you have other questions since you are using the tools, how to optimize what you are doing. If not, I'll go over what we kind of covered during these sessions and what it boiled down to when we were doing the master class, or really what we want to achieve and why. Right? I'll start, and at any point in time, you all can time in with questions. We have Robert with us in the chat, so remember, if you don't want to ask your question directly, you can always time into the chat. Uh, so I'll just go over what we were striving to achieve during these masterclass and why it is important to have this tool. I think the digital card is the basic tool that levels the game for everybody, whether you're a beginner or an elite, a well-crafted MasterCard, a well-crafted digital card. Sorry, you see where my head is. Method of payments. Well, a well-crafted digital card allows you to introduce yourself and your conversation in a very agile way. Okay, this is very important. Coming back to what we practice constantly during the conversational approach of this exercise, our sales flow, right? When we look at the card, we should understand that the card is actually trying to cover all these points, right? Uh, the connection for me is made with the picture, whether we're placing our own picture or a company logo there, we create a connection with that imagery. Since this is a personal card, it's always best to have our own picture. And believe me, now with all the smartphones that you guys have access to, we can pretty much create something very decent with our phone and a few filters. The more important thing is to keep in mind that we are trying to convey an aspect of ourselves, which should be in line with the business, the industry. If it's a wellness, then we want to have a decontract look. If it's real estate or cryptocurrency, something of a higher tier, we want to have that approach. It's part of that unspoken communication, right? The first impression. So think about that. Then, of course, we are presenting ourselves, right? We connect, we present ourselves, we want to start building a rapport, right? And this is what is happening technically on this first frame. We introduce ourselves, our credentials. And remember here, if we're lost, the easiest way to create a compelling business presentation for me is to leverage first your expertise, right? My name is, I am, in this case, a brand ambassador, experience manager, right? So I present my expertise, then your offer or promise of service. All right. And this is important. Why? Because coming back to these points that we're trying to hit to drive the impulse to engage, whether it's fear of loss, whether it's greed, these points that we covered that are what motivates us to purchase. Well, this is where that offer of service or that promise of service comes in hand, right? So keep that in mind. And remember that when we're doing this, I'm saying a lot, but in truth, you only have to remember that when you're in the editor and building these things, you're relying on your AI with your business description that has already anchored what it is about you that you're offering as expertise, who it is that you're addressing your service to, and how you offer this first rollout. And when you are describing yourself as a business profile, the how will boil down to let's book a meeting. Let's meet when I have Zoom sessions. You can reach me this way, right? So you are relying on the AI to create your content. You just have to remember the prompt, right? A business offer highlighting my expertise and offering this solution or this benefit or this outcome. Make sense so far? It's really the prompts that we now have to keep in mind or the mechanics of how we want to deliver the action. Go ahead, Robert.
So far, so good. Didn't you say something? I can't remember the terminology. I don't want to say calling people out. What was it? What were you going to call
Oh,
on some
voluntold.
people?
Yes.
Voluntold. There you go.
Voluntold.
So
Yes,
were you
actually.
going to voluntold and see if anybody got that created or not?
Well, yes, why not? And
I'm
since you
curious to
spoke out,
see.
well, no, no, well, you know what? I love it. You
I
just
shared
voluntold.
mine.
You just voluntold yourself
Cool. I shared mine with you
in the
in the
chat.
chat there.
Perfect. Let's take a
So
look
you can
at it.
share your screen if
And
you do it.
what
But
I'll
I
do
wonder if
is,
anybody else did too.
let's see. If you
I
want
hope.
to open yourself to uh, open or constructive criticism or engagement, it is the time. It is good to allow your peers to review your work. And also, I am going to ask you to describe your intentions, right? Or the point of the conversation. So you are going to be the one introducing ourselves to this credit card, to this. Why do I have this uh, billing conversation in mind? So here,
Yeah, I wonder if anybody else that was in class did theirs. It'd be great to see them.
yeah, we'll see. Think about who wants to have a take at it. And Robert, you have the floor to take us to the journey of this card. So I'm receiving this card. I'm seeing it. Take me to the journey.
Well, in essence, right at the very top, you see it's free consultation. So, what? Oh, okay, free consultation. By who? Who's this guy? Off to the left, you see the branding there. Cartoonish picture, but it still represents my brand. Scroll down, there's my name. What am I? There's my title, sales psychology coach. What do? I blend sales psychology and artificial intelligence to revolutionize sales strategies, innovative tools, blah, 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 right? Add the
Mhm.
contacts. And then up in the top right there, well, there's my social, but then up top right, there's a free PDF or what we call a lead magnet, why you will fail at network marketing. There's a really cool video there, only a minute and 2 seconds. It sounds like, talking to the entrepreneur about being an entrepreneur and not giving up and then unlocking their sales potential. Free PDF if they want it, put in their name and email, and voila. And then that'll take them to a thank you page where they can download that PDF and they're on my list. And then underneath
Perfect.
at the very bottom, if they get really, really inquisitive, then they can go to my Calendly and book some time.
I love it. I love it because you're giving opportunity for multiple interactions.
Make sure to
Am I
whitelist.
re- am I receiving an email?
Uh no, you are not.
Perfect. So it means that
You
you're
click the button
monitoring
there,
the,
right? If you go up a little
yeah,
bit, you see the click to download button
yeah.
above the video. That's
Mm,
where they download it at, is right on the thank you page. And then I can set up an email sorts.
I want to take a look at the PDF. Does the
I like
PDF
the way it came
also,
out.
does the PDF also,
Martha.
sorry?
I'm laughing at Martha. She direct messaged me.
Yeah.
It's funny, Martha. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to see if anybody got anything done or looked at it. I don't know. But then inside the PDF, right, it gives them all those different reasons if you see, and then at the very bottom,
Mhm.
inside the PDF, and they can click and they can go to my other NowSite link, which is my team coaching, or they can reach out and find me on Facebook in case they found me somewhere else.
I
And then
love it.
now they get introduced to the inner circle.
I love it. The gift, and this is a very important approach to follow. If we piggyback everything that was done, the PDF keeps building the relationship by keeping those options to discover more after you've gone to that conversation still in reach. Love it. Love it. So this is definitely a sequence in action that we would all want to copy. We definitely also want to add in the email as soon as possible. So it allows us time to well, to handle the intake of that as well. Uh, that is coming. So that is great. I like also the fact that we have a menu. So we're giving more depths to the digital card itself. So
Well,
if
see,
I get
that's
curious,
the beauty of this whole thing, as I think that
mhm,
I mentioned to you, Virgil, why I was happy that you were doing this is because it gave everybody here the opportunity to be exposed to what that digital card is and how powerful it could be. I myself personally wasn't using it the way that I could have, but then once you mentioned it, it was like, oh yeah, well, let's do this. And all I really did was I just added it to the contact us page that I already had for my website so that the branding is all congruent and everything else, right? So I'm really glad that you brought that to our attention because I certainly was not using it to its fullest capability.
no, it is a powerful tool. And this is something also, for example, one of the things that we often come across is the multitude of opportunity that we pursue, right? And these are quickly adaptable for these conversation when we need, right? Because if you just have to rebrand the digital card, right, and just realign the conversation and the content for the targeted interest each time, it becomes easier to play the chameleon, right? And the only thing in that is that you have to be careful. When you're playing that game, you have to match that conversation with your social media conversation as well, right? We can't go left to right from the digital card to something that doesn't align, right? So when you're doing that, when you're flipping the asset for a new business conversation, always keep in mind that the social media conversation has to be aligned, right? And this is where it gets interesting for those who are brand ambassador, because as an ambassador, you can champion different things. So you can cycle your banner, keeping yourself as an anchor. Otherwise, if you're apt, you can create multiple business or product profile on Facebook and adapt each one for the conversation at hand, right? So that is an important thing. So as you can see, a lot is happening with this simple asset. And it leads to the second part, the segmentation course that we had, right? Because this is a form. It dictates that we're at one point of our conversation. And depending on the offer, in this case, we have a light offer. It's an acquisition. right? We still have to go in to a second conversation, a second tier to probe and get where we want to go with this client, right? Sales psychology, is it for just yourself or is it mastering it, for example, for the team, right? So that would lead Robert most likely into different sphere of conversation with this person. One would be an individual mastering it for himself. The other one would be maybe a team leader looking to deliver that conversation to a team, right? So we would be looking at that here.
And the other
At
thing
the,
too, Virgil, that I
Mhm.
just wanted to mention is now that I've got that built, that's an entire page that I can use just as an advertisement, right? So I could put
It
that
is.
anywhere, and like you're saying, add the text here, contact us, schedule a meeting, whatever, and boom, send them right to that page. And we all should know that people are, for the lack of better terms, nosy, right?
Well, that's why we're
Well,
that's why
here's
we're
this.
on.
What's all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, that's why we're on the social media to discover. And if you pique the right interest the right way, people will keep following that breadcrumb trail. That's the funnel approach. That is what, in the end, this whole funnel concept boils down to. Lining up enough breadcrumbs to keep the person following basically that journey every step of the way. And once every time they pick up sweets for them and for you as well. That's the prospect journey that I keep referring to, right? And technically, the digital cards should already be outlining that for them and for you. Any other volunteer? Oh, you were muted. I didn't hear the
We
last.
do. We have Martha put hers in there. It's one of her older ones. And I
Mhm.
was just looking at it, and quite honestly, Martha, I like it. The only thing I would add, well, I'm not going to critique too much, but I would add some individualization, like a picture of you or something. But she shared hers in the chat if you want to share.
Yeah, I was looking
I
for it.
like
Let
the
me
way it
see.
looks.
I actually
Uh,
have more than one. My other one does have my picture. I don't use that one anymore because I'm not branding. I brand myself. That's a very old card.
Yeah, good, good.
Here,
I
take a
like
look
the
at it.
look and feel of it. It looks good. Did you do that yourself, or did one of the nerds do it for you?
I did it.
Good
Is
job.
it
Great job.
is it this link that I see?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a digital card that is not from NowSite, is it?
It is not. It's from
Yeah,
Elkhart. Yeah, it's from a different platform. This one's from
Yeah.
2 years ago. I don't even use it
2 years ago.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I
other one
That's cool.
the
mm,
one I'm doing through Now Site is going to be much better. And I do have another one that I use for marketing
mm,
one of my payroll tax savings plans that has my picture and everything on there. So
So that's
okay.
great. Then you should have some great ideas for your newest one, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
I just have to upload my video and do just a couple more things on there and I'll be finished with the one I did Friday.
Sweet. Good,
Okay,
good. Glad to hear that you're working
I
on it.
love it. So definitely, this is good. This is good. What you are going to be creating with NowSite, I guarantee, will be a lot more engaging. Uh, for me, it looks a lot like a landing page, and there's a lot of choices, and most likely you're going to boil down on one of the choices that is more important for you. Um, there's one thing that I want to cover on both of these cards. Um, and this is very important for me. It's open to conversation as well. Um, we are trying to build a connection, right? So when we present each other or when we introduce each other, you will say we or I am, what is your name? And then definitely very quickly, we will engage in the first person. Be careful about that, right? Because, for example, Robert Blakely blends cell psychology. So we created a disconnect in a sense that I would expected I blend cell psychology and AI to revolutionize sales strategy. My innovative tool empowers professional. That simple word changes the dynamics of the conversation.
Interesting.
Now, it,
Tell me more about that, because number one, I have a
mhm.
problem talking about myself, and I figured I've always learned that it's like third person is better.
Same here.
Well, third person, if you are trying to elevate yourself as a third entity, as a separate entity, eventually people will speak to you as a brand, right? Because they've experienced the brand. But when they are experiencing the brand, what you're ultimately trying to do, and especially at our level, and the use of this card is create connection, right? And the natural flow of
Makes sense.
connection dictates that I want to break the ice, make that connection, right?
Makes sense.
How is it, when is it that the business conversation is the strongest? When you're talking to the person, Mr. Director or Bob, right? From one advisor to one business owner in the first person, because we have built that relationship. I can talk to you like that, right? And especially that in this case, we're trying to build a connection. It's like, for example, let's reverse this, or let's take this conversation in another context. You're doing this video and you're talking about your business, would you be referring to you constantly as Robert Blakely? Robert Blakely, no, you would say I. You would
Right,
switch very quickly from the introducing myself to the I. And the only time you would start using the we is when you're pulling in the client in that relationship. We're a
right.
team,
That
right?
makes
So
total sense, brother. Refresh the page.
so
Gotta love
and
now
and
site.
and
Adjust
and
on the
it's
fly.
and it's the same thing that you also want to apply throughout the email conversation. We want to switch very quickly from the third party conversation to the personal conversation, because remember, this is how I take this whole um, visual card, or this whole communication, right? I want to get into the personal zone of the person, and when you're reading, I'm in your head. So I don't want to build walls in your head. I want to build connection, right? So I want to break down all the ice very quickly. And this is why, if you come back to our conversation, we have the excited, humorous, professional, friendly, right? Very hard to be friendly when you're talking in the person.
Well, funny enough, I used that, and that's what AI gave me. I just didn't catch it. So either way, it's fixed now. We're good to go.
Yes. So constructive. Let's go take a look at it. Because that way, and we'll read it again. This is how fast thing goes with NowSite too. You can adjust things. So you see, I blend cell psychology and AI to revolutionize strategy. Our innovative tool empowers. Who is R? You pick
Yeah,
that
go
one, you
with
shot.
it.
So create that connection, or together with my innovative tool, I will empower you as a professional, ensuring precise targeting and getting to that personal zone, right? And that feeds into that. Is it good for me? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's good for you, right? So this is important. Keep that in mind, the power of conversation, because often enough, for example, we had one case that came about in the segmentation class. Um, I have to do this better next time. The master class videos are available on the course master class section, so you will see them. But some of them overlap. I didn't keep in mind that the recording would be following me when I was bouncing from room to rooms, so certain things will overlap. I have to apologize for that. In all, it's good to watch both of them. And in one of the conversation we had George that was concerned with one thing, the fact that if people saw information, they might decide not to click on it. But then I said, wait, you overstepped a few wins before that, because We have to count the wins. First win, the client, the prospect saw your conversation, stopped and read it. Great win. Not only did they read it, but they paid interest to it and acted on your call to action and went to go see what was next. Right. And at that point, we have the fear of them walking away. Well, in a perfect world, when you offer choice is 50-50, correct? So each time I have the choice to say yes or no. So the 50-50 conversation or the fear of not getting into that conversation zone with the client started way before they got to see your content, right? And how do you leverage that 50 to something that is higher? It's only through the conversation. So you have to really aim at the person's interest each time, because the more I am interested, the more that percentage of me acting on will go up, right? And that brings into perspective that approach where you want to really get in the personal zone of the person that is reading, right? When I'm discussing website with you in the one-on-one meetings, I always tell you what we give you as a structure is great, but you have to come back and own that conversation, right? We really have to take a look at it and peel it back as I am, but doing it with the AI. So you read it because you understand better your product and you know the facet of it that is going to match the person's interest at this stage of discovery, right? It can be the strongest, it can be the one in the middle, it can be the one that opens up more questions. And as you go through these conversations, it's the same dynamics. You keep piquing the interest, you keep offering clear intentions with benefits to the reader and call to actions, right? As long as you're interested, if you're not taking decisions, if you're not leaving, we're good, right? If you stay on my feed, looking at that conversation, absorbing it step by step, even if you're not acting on the call to action, you're following the journey. You will leave with an imprint, message or mission accomplished. Accomplished. Same thing with the emails. If they're not unsubscribing during the sequence, it means that our conversation is winning a mark. Now it's ours work to go through these sequence and see, okay, at which point technically I was expecting a great reaction. If not, why am I not getting it? Was it too early? Was it too late? Was the conversation not powerful enough? Right? What do I do? Was it a matter of trust that I didn't build? Right? Where did I miss a step in that simple sequence of process that I need to follow? Make sense? Okay, so that's one of the things. If you're asking me anything else, I would say rely back to the AI, but always keep in mind these simple structure. When I'm building conversation, it's all about the interest of the person that I'm targeting. My intention is to match that interest with the benefits of my opportunity. And once I have interested you and informed you, I need to tell you call to action. Interest, intention, call to action. Same mechanic, what, who, how. It's just for a different environment, what, who, how, general description of my business conversation, interest, intention, call to action, targeted engagement. I'm talking to a specific segment or a specific interest. Okay. Keep those in mind. You keep basically at least how to level or how to assess what the AI is doing. Right. And the simple trick again, keep in mind, we are following ourselves. So if we are, we know that we will be looking at a set objective at one point. So how do you build a better connection with somebody? Trust, digital card. How you invite somebody to a meeting? Well, clear invitation, digital card, right? So the digital card will be used a lot throughout your conversation. It's an asset. It's a strong asset. And if you don't have a website, but you have a strong digital card, you're in business on social media because your posts, your targeted posts, your engagement posts have more sequence to it. There's a digital card. Let's book a meeting. Let's talk. Join me there. You can discover me on other social media as well. You have choices. It's entertainment, it's information, it's a specific interest that you're looking for. Make sense? So that was for the digital card. Of course, what it does when we come back to our list conversation, it's going to generate a specific list depending on what you have offered as a call to action. You end up in a acquisition list or conversion list. If you have booked a meeting, I put you closer to the conversion than the acquisition, right? Where do I segment the lists, right? Here in this case, coming back to what I was doing, the real segmentation, there was two tiers of segmentation for this card, right? I wanted to know where you yourself placed yourself in this conversation, and then what were the interests, right? Whether it was leaning left or right, whether it was going MasterCard or uh, digital card. So, and respect again to Robert, to Kim, who stepped in during this session. Again, I think I picked up a big load because I knew that I had wingmen that would step in, right? Last time I was like, no, you only take risk when you have, foundational, right, process that you're following. And I was pretty sure that Robert was going to come through. So, and Kim came through as well. So balancing through these room became a little bit easier. Next time, however, we will do this. We'll keep one class so we can all time in, and if we need be, we'll break up into more elite subject at that point. We will see, but we'll start with one topic of class. And as it is, we'll try to do this every 2 weeks. I started updating the information that is in place for the next one. So I set it for the 15th. I'll be rolling out an email to those who are already in the list. I'm trying to see what's the best strategy in terms of asset to put in place for that as well. But in this case, coming back to what I was discussing, this digital card creates an initial list, which depending on what I was offering, can be an acquisition or something closer to a conversion process. From that point on, I need to understand what is the process that I'm following to answer to that specific interest, because already I'm involved into a retention exercise, right? Because if you give me information and I don't reach out right away with clear instructions to follow, thus the thank you page was the first reaction that we recommend, or that I recommend, because it outlines, okay, this is what you're going to be doing next. And also it allows you to break the ice. I ask you to do something, you did it, thank you. Isn't that the natural process of interaction that we follow when we're polite and friendly, right? I asked you to do something, right? And it's for both of us, in the interest of both of us. I should tell you thank you and then tell you what's next. That's the logic. The sequence is also digging down on that impulse with something new, all right? Because that is, in the end, the need of marketing, a new action every time, a new prompt to make sure that we get somebody to do the next thing. That's why you have to be prolific and why you have the My AI tool to create these conversations, whether it's personal or it's generate leads. And behind these leads, you have these step-by-step conversational process that you yourself have simply put in place to follow, right? Very important. Come back to this list discussion. I now need to put you into a specific list to continue building the relationship. And at that point, stepping out of this coaching environment, for you who are actively looking to convert, we want a strong conversion list where people have opted into a commitment, either signing up for your activity or purchasing your product. And from that point on, you go into the retention cycles. This is where you are the master of your conversation. You have to know or have established a simple process that you can follow to bring people at least to the level of the conversation that you are if you're onboarding them, right? That would be the first concern for those who are starting out in this space. Go ahead, Marta.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you there. I was just going to
No, no,
ask
no,
you,
go ahead.
do we have the ability to do signature cards on NowSite also?
Signature card, meaning just a
Like for an
card or
email? Yeah, like for an email signature card. I posted mine in I DM'd you. I
okay, let me
just didn't
take
know
a
if we
look at
could
it.
do that on NowSite.
No, to be honest, I'm not familiar with the term, but I want to take a look at it before I say no, because often enough, these are just different shapes of same marketing assets. Let's see. So this would be basically what you would want them to see when you send an email.
Well, it is, but then in an email, it isn't shaped like that. It's
Okay.
it looks just like a regular rectangular business card, but
Yeah,
it's a
because
signature card.
because um, as you define it, I'll say no. But as I see it, yes, we can create this type of thing in the email very quickly. Actually, while we're doing that, I'm going to take a jab at it. Let me see. Because this is really just design uh, approach, I would say. Here, I'm going to do this in my space just to see. See none for now.
Because I would like to redo mine, but have more options like what NowSite offers.
We can, yeah. I mean, if it's an email that has uh, a basic set of information and same generic, well, not generic, but your standard applied presentation or approach, I mean, it's what it is. It's just one. You would be creating one email. Just let's do it here.
You just
You'd
put
be
it at
creating.
the end. You just put it at the end of your email, like for your signature, like when you're afterwards, where so you're not having to put in like who you are and all that. Plus, it gives you the link to book. And so you're not having to add all of that at the end of your email. It's just in one place. And
Okay.
it looks like a business card for them,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it's used as a signature card.
Yeah, I understand what you're offering. Well, what you're requesting, what the way I would want, what the way I would do it basically is just build it as a template here. Here, I'll show you. Save. Because what you're basically looking at, or the way I'm understanding, is having a standard end of presentation for all your email communication. So this is why basically what I did is I try to grab your image, meaning that in the end, you would be creating something that you would be duplicating or repeating each every time you want to start drafting a campaign. Where is your photo here?
Yeah, and you
See?
can actually have more than one
Hmm.
signature card based on the product that you're marketing. So if I'm doing my
Hmm.
125 plan, or if I'm doing, you know, um, compute or cloud computing or whatever, I could use my signature based on whatever.
Yeah, in this case is for each one of your interests, you would have to set that set signature, especially if you want it to be graphical like that. Otherwise, no, we wouldn't have something that you would set in place and that would follow you every time you're basically trying to create an email sequence. It would have to be adapted each time, basically. Make
Yeah, you
sense?
just do is you just put insert signature, and then you choose whichever signature you want to include in that particular email.
Yeah. So, but in our case, you would have to build it from scratch each time you want it, basically, because we don't have that tool. It's definitely something that it's a good suggestion to offer as an update, embedded tool that could do that. I was trying to get your picture from your card to show how it could be mounted on an email, but I think it's blocked or copyrighted there. So it's not giving me that chance. But yeah, it's something that you would end up creating because the end of our email are standard and as such. But what you can do, for example, here, what I did is wait, I'm gonna grab the large text. I copied your information. So in essence, what I'm understanding or what you would end up having, of course, we could dress it up a little bit more, is that you would start by creating this as a template for each one of your emails. I don't have your pictures. I'm just going to place uh, um, a random picture here. See, profile picture. I don't know if I'm making sense here. I'll see. Oh, oh.
Just put me a minion.
uh,
Here,
um,
I'll give you an image.
you know, so if you have done some work on it on Canva, then it would be that picture that we would want to have, and then the rest of your conversation would precede that ending. Basically, you dropped a picture for me.
I'm getting one. Hold on. Many folders on my desktop.
So in essence, basically, you would have a standard, or you would create basically for yourself a standard type of conversation. And above that, you could have everything, or in between that, you could have anything that you want in terms of conversation. Here, for example, uh, creating just a piece of conversation quickly. And again, here, coming back to what we were discussing in terms of the approach in conversation across assets, whenever you're in doubt, you can always come back to these, right? Build a rapport, present, follow up, book a meeting, close a sale. Remember the two panels on each side of our digital card. Remember also the conversation flow that you're having when you are building a marketing asset, whether it's a series of email, whether it's a conversation on a landing page. Here, let me see. I see a document. Uh,
Oh wait,
is the
let me
picture?
see.
Yeah. 'Cause I would need a PNG or a JPEG file so I could
Yeah,
put it in
it's
place.
okay. I
It's
chose the
okay.
wrong one. It was my logo, but yeah, I
It's
picked the
okay.
wrong one. I didn't get the ping, sorry.
It's okay.
It
But
doesn't
in
matter. Just the
essence,
minion's fine.
yeah, in essence, this is basically what you should be or what you would be looking to expect from us. If you want to apply this type of process, the signature card, to what we're doing in NowSite, meaning that you would have this as a standalone signature card that you could send out. And each time you would be building an email, that would be the template on which the conversation, the rest would be built. So in this case, for example, when they receive, they'll see this, they'll see the conversation, and the rest of the branding would be my picture and that. So in essence, you can have the same result, but not uh, the same vehicle, right? Because this is a link, a one delivery link, which is technically a digital card from what I would understand it to be, without the ability to necessarily make a follow-up offer because there's just one panel, your picture, your conversation, who you are, and then your contact, which is essentially the first part of what we offer here. So you're going to be able to combine actually both of these conversation, Marta, or you should combine both of these conversation. One panel would showcase this information, and the other would be basically pertaining to an offer, a targeted offer that basically supersedes or that you have in mind to prioritize, right? This is the most important thing. Remember, coming back to what we discussed, one offer is usually very strong, but giving people choices is also good, right? So if you have two offers, that's okay. Three, you're going to have a logistics in place to be able to follow properly if you go that far. But that is as far as you want to go. Whenever that is my uh, 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 personal opinion on this, and I'm open to any pushback and any other challenge on this because I want to time in here. It is for me, it's going to be very hard, for example, to resume all these offers with power in this conversation here to make the client adhere to one of them specifically,
Yeah,
right? So for me,
that particular card, I'm sorry, the digital
mhm,
card there that you have up, that particular one was designed specifically for a large business expo. And I was
Expo,
also handing out little 5x7 cards. So people invariably they're going to lose a card or whatever, where with this information they would be able to recall, oh, this was for the business funding, or oh, this was whatever. And
good.
yeah, and that was what the intent was for that particular one. But no, I would not typically put that many on one card.
Very good. Because if there was an applied strategy behind this, then absolutely 100%. You're at a convention, you want to have these handy ready because you can yourself do the demonstration and you can always send it as a follow up to that. That was great, actually. But again, it's applied building, right, in tandem with an on-ground strategy. So this is very important. So this is a very good tool, but keep in mind, keep the choice says within a reasonable amount. Go ahead, Robert. Sorry, I kept your hand up.
Yeah, no worries, brother. I
Mm,
wasn't going to debate or anything what you were
no,
saying. I
no,
was going to stand behind what you said. I know for a fact, professionally, from my experience, anytime you give anybody more than two options, it immediately creates confusion.
it's it's what we are, right? Unless we are uh, frantically looking for a solution, and at that point we're jabbing at everything, which is also an impulse that you, as a marketer, will control. Right? I see that you are very much looking at and asking all these questions. Let's start with the beginning. What is the core of the problem? Let's handle that. Right? Often enough, but this is who we are. When we have too many choices, we fall into indecision, especially if we're alone. When we have a simple path, we tend to follow it until it gets complicated. These are two facts, right? So you keep it simple, you give options left or right, and you have an applied approach behind that, right? Uh, in Marta's case, she was there. In this case, I wasn't. And my, again, conversation was first, I wanted to make sure at which level of the conversation overall this tool or this approach had to be created for the delivery so that within the space everybody saw value. And then I needed to make sure that I keep building that relationship, informing you, preparing you, whichever the case is for what you want to do. And that forces all the rest of the separation and the implied workload to follow up as well. Okay. So always keep things simple, at least at the beginning. And once you have gone through the process for one offer, then naturally we fall into duplication, right? And at that point, you're not reinventing the wheel, you're just redressing it. And it makes things easier to keep track of something that is already into place than trying to build many channels at the same time. Right? Make sense for everybody?
Totally.
Okay. So big takeaway, at least for this part, tomorrow we'll dive more into the conversation in the terms of segmentation and such. But in terms of what we discuss always try to build connection through the conversation is the fastest channel to engagement, right? And keep in mind that part of what you do naturally when you want to be a friend to somebody. Very quickly, you start trying to melt the ice while you bring in comfort around the fact that you are in tune with their need, with their feelings, with their interest, with benefits that they can gain from doing what you offer as a solutions to all that. Okay, once you have that, keep prompting the AI for the content. Remember, it's just the prompt that we're worrying about, the mechanic in which to start interacting with our AI. Once we have that, we're pro because AI does the writing. Good? Okay. Tomorrow, prepare questions for what is good practice in email. And we'll go over the setup again of the email. We'll go over the conversation around the timing. Timing is key, both for us, for the review process, and for the client, right? So it's always important to understand that. And it also impacts the strategy around the lists, right? The basic process, the list pertaining to the basic aspects of our process, the acquisition, the conversion, and the retention part. Okay.
Great
That is
stuff.
it for now.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Perfect. Perfect. So tomorrow, who we will volunteer. I'll try to pick in a different way. Today, you offered. Tomorrow, I'm picking. You kind of rubbed my thunder. I wanted to see people sweat like, oh my God, I don't want to go up front. But hey, good times. Perfect. Okay. See you guys tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I was also able to edit the videos that I couldn't. So they're now available in the how-to sessions. So if you lost track of what we discussed, or if you want to go back and refresh yourself from these conversation, you can. I'll be trying to work on a way to condense these old conversation so that we can have a condensed part of it versus the hour long that can be maybe consuming to take a look at. Works?
Virgil,
Awesome.
thank
Great.
you. And Robert, your card is amazing.
Have a great
Yep.
day, everyone. See y'all tomorrow.
Perfect. Record.